Something very unnerving happened a few years ago, and it changed the way I understand how easy it is for our minds to be altered. I stopped being able to read. Books, articles, and anything longer than a couple of paragraphs. If I didn't get the information I needed in a quick amount of time, I moved on to something else that would tell me faster. This is why I think it happened. I was going on my phone and social media a lot. It was the height of the pandemic, and lots of people were posting lots of things lots of the time on social media. And I was lapping it up. Every video, every reel lasted a maximum of 30 seconds. If my brain didn't get satisfied within that time frame, I was scrolling through to the next thing. My thirst for knowledge needed to be constantly quenched by fast information, articles and posts that got straight to the point. If it didn't, I moved on. My brain was thriving on the serotonin produced by flicking through my phone, constantly craving stimulation. And then I lost the ability to read books. This devastated me. I'd struggle to get through a chapter without the desire to break off and look at something on my phone. My mind was always somewhere else. I lost the ability to get lost in a story, taken on adventures, and reading became a filler in between social media and something I no longer enjoyed. I couldn't read articles. My mind would feel frustrated at having to read a long article just to get to the point. Never mind the interests and intricacies of the articles in question. My brain simply could not maintain any attention span. But through all of this, I wanted desperately to get back to being able to focus on a book, to focus on an article, and ultimately to calm a constant frustration that my mind needed stimulation. I had to make changes. And I'm very, very thankful that growing up I didn't have this problem. As a child, and an only one at that, I spent a lot of time around adults and my parents' friends. And in a time before tablets and mobile phones, unless you had a colouring book, you sat and listened, and sometimes talked with the adults. I watched them a lot. Their body language and the way they behaved. I listened to their tones of voice, noticing minute linguistic details, and I've always felt that I developed a skill of being able to read people well. I could quickly detect underlying tensions, falseness, as well as sometimes romantic inclinations. I could always see something brewing long before it had come to a head.
Yes, it's better. Yes, we're in the dry.
I can't deny that sometimes I find it scary how I think whole generations will miss out on learning these sorts of skills. I see so many children out with their parents with their faces glued to a screen, missing everything that is going on around them, not learning social cues, not learning to read body language, and not learning how to interact effectively. I genuinely worry for the future. But I'm also very aware that generations before us worried about exactly the same thing. All that aside, I learned to be bored and to cope with boredom as a child. Out of this boredom came creativity and a vivid imagination, and more importantly, my brain was being formed at a young age to cope without external stimulation and without immediate satisfaction. And that was the brain I decided I needed to return to. At least I had the experience of this before, unlike the new generation coming through, whose fragile minds are becoming overly dependent on screen time. So I gave up social media, which is what I predominantly use my phone for anyway. Upon freezing my accounts, having made that final decision, I immediately felt a sense of relief. This was no longer a part of my life, and my mind could now recover. But it still wasn't easy. It took me at least a good 2 months for my brain to be able to return to its former self, where I could get lost in a book for hours, read news articles to the end, and actually complete tasks without the interruption of looking at my phone. All in all, I just hope this is a bit of food for thought for you. Maybe if you're struggling to focus on certain things, see how much you're going on your phone and social media. Perhaps these things have affected you in a similar way, and you did the same as I did and just stepped away. In any case, I'd love to know what you think. Take care.